Hi, I'm the Heavy Metal Harley Hiker. Thanks for tuning in. So I went to do a gear shakedown today because me and one of my friends are talking about doing part of the Lone Star Trail in a couple of days, or as much as we can tolerate of it. My snacks are empty. The hiking bars that I normally make, I guess I ate them. So today I'm gonna make some more, and I'm going to let y'all watch so you can see the process. I will share like the whole process. I'll share the original recipe that I started using, and then this is going to kind of be an adaptation to that. The lady that has the video of them, the ones that she makes are great, but sometimes you just want some variety, and so I'm going to make them a little different today, and also show like how much they cost and how much that makes. So here we go. Here is the recipe that I got off of YouTube from a lady who calls herself the Hungry Hiker. You can read it for yourself, take a picture, whatever you gotta do. That's what I did. No, I lied. I just watched her video and wrote it down as she went. I've added some different stuff in the past. We're going to do that again. I found a couple of things that I'm actually really excited about adding because HEB is awesome. And that's really what happened. So the recipe calls for almonds, oats, pumpkin seeds, chopped dates. I can't find chopped dates. I guess I'm gonna have to chop them myself. Almond butter. I think it actually called for semi-sweet chocolate chips, but I am gonna go with dark chocolate chips. It says half a cup of syrup. We're gonna try wildflower honey. See how that goes. Then it says chili powder. I like to use a reckless amount of chili powder because I like the bite. You can also totally leave it out. It doesn't really affect the flavor much. And coconut oil. What I'm going to add are pecans, dried cranberries, dried cherries, pineapple chunks, and the thing I'm actually super excited about, and one of the things that makes HEB so awesome, chili spiced dried mango. I'm excited. Starting with the dry ingredients, we have 1 cup chopped almonds. We have 1.5 cups of oats. About half a cup of raw pumpkin seeds. We've got about a half a cup, okay, a little bit more than half a cup of chocolate chips. Chili powder. I'm gonna make these, or at least try to make these a little bit spicier than I normally do. The recipe calls for like a teaspoon or a tablespoon maybe. We're gonna go a little bigger than that. Alright. Alright, let's mix this up a little bit. Alright, that's kind of mixed. We've got our dates here that we're going to chop. Makes it a little bit easier to cut them a little bit before they go in the blender, otherwise the blender doesn't handle them too well. Added the honey and the dates. Now I'm going to mix that up a little bit, see how that goes. Alright, we've got about a half a cup of almond butter. Probably go just a little bit more than that. Blue, 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 blue. It's not flowing too good, but we're gonna be okay. Yikes. Alright, we're gonna see how that does. And it says 1/4 cup of coconut oil. Honestly, I'm just gonna eyeball. Alright. Well, give it a shake. Maybe pointless. Stuff's not moving around in there too fast. I don't remember if that's normal. Looking pretty good. Alright, let's add some of this other stuff. Alright, this stuff isn't in the recipe, so I'm just doing whatever I want. Dried cranberries. About that much. If I were guessing, I would say maybe another 1/4 cup, maybe a little bit more. Dried cherries. Approximately a big old handful. Yeah. Handful and a half. The thing that I'm actually most excited about trying, chili spiced dried mango. This actually looks like I'm gonna need to cut it. That's probably too much. Alright, let's chop it. Let's cut it a little bit. It smells fucking good. So I ended up probably doubling the amount of coconut oil I put in just because of all the dry ingredients, and it blends a little bit better, especially if you get the stuff that isn't already liquid. If you warm it enough to make it liquid, it'll blend up a little bit better. And then I think actually the last thing I'm going to put in here is going to be the pineapple chunks. We'll see how those turned out. I've never used those before. Just to make them a little bit more blendable. They taste good.
Alright, this stuff's a little chunkier than I thought it was going to be, but I don't think it's a problem. It looks like it's going to be freaking amazing. I actually think the chunks might add to the texture a little bit and make it a little bit more enjoyable. I've had these before where they were just super dense and I don't know, not awesome, but this is like my 5th time to make these at least. I think these are going to be way better. Alright, here's one pan. This cost me about in the neighborhood of $100 to get all of these ingredients. It will be, one of these pans is about 9 meals. So one of these bars is about a meal, and it's a whole bunch of calories. It's nutrient dense, and I don't eat a whole lot while I'm hiking. For some reason, I just don't get hungry, and so I have to find things that I can choke down. These are pretty good. Keep me going for a long time. But with my most limited ingredient, I figure I can make 3 whole pans of this. So what is that? Like, I don't know, 27 meals for about $100. Could be worse. All right, and then I put them in the oven till about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes after I can really smell them in the house. 350 degrees. What does that turn into? It turns into probably like 25 minutes or something. And then once they come out of the oven, I pop them in the freezer. I don't know, it's probably ill-advised, but whatever. That's what I do anyway. And it helps them get real solid and to where they cut a little easier. And that's pretty much the whole process. Anyways, that's how you do it. Some of the ingredients are pretty optional, I figure. You could probably substitute a whole bunch of them for a whole bunch of different things. Give yourself some variety, especially for real long hauls. I would probably make 3 real different pans, and then chop them up and divide them out so that I don't really know what I'm grabbing, so it's a little bit of a surprise every time, or maybe intentionally divide it up. But I don't generally think things through that well, so probably just random. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. I will put the link for the lady where I got the original recipe down in the comments, and that way you can, if you want to go off her recipe and her process, you can do that. She's got some other cool videos out there. So anyways, see y'all on the trail.